Rolling along into week number 9 of the Mo Norman single plane swing review. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game. But honestly, your game helps my game just the same. We share information on this channel. Anyway, welcome back to another episode. As I said in the beginning, this is week number 9 of me trying out the single plane swing as described by Mo Norman. Now, if you haven't seen the other episodes, I highly suggest you go back and watch those for some context and also to see my progression along through the weeks. Last week's episode was my second on-course test, and it seems like each week I continue to discover something else. It's just things that seem to pop up, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about in this week's episode. Let's get going. If you saw last week's episode, you saw that I shot 75, and I said on the video that my irons weren't as reliable as they were the weeks prior where I'd been playing golf on course or when I'd been coming out here and practicing. I don't really have an explanation for that. Mo always said he never really had an off day. I am clearly not Mo Norman. My swing is not perfect. It's not exactly where it should be. I'm not using any one person's tutelage. I'm not working with an instructor. I'm not even following one single philosophy on what the Mo Norman swing actually is. I'm trying to interpret Mo Norman myself. I'm trying to take what he says and decode it in my own way, and try and figure out what it is. And in the spirit of that, I want to talk to you about the latest that I've found has really been something that has been just overwhelmingly great for me, not only out here on the simulator playing courses. The E6 Connect, by the way, is much more realistic than the Home T Hero from Garmin R10. I will get into that in some other videos. I've got some simulator videos that I'm going to be releasing, as well as I've got an announcement to make. I have a partnership with a really, really great company, and I expect to pass along some savings to you guys via a coupon code. So if you need to hook up your indoor golf simulation, I've got some great stuff coming for you in the coming weeks. I'll be announcing that in a later video. That's for another week. Anyway, this week, what I want to talk about is making the circle. Now, since I started looking into Mo Norman and studying him and watching his swing and sort of getting my hands on all of the video and all of the information that I could gather on Mo Norman, I have no proof of this whatsoever. But my personal belief is that when he was younger, as a young teenager, before he had this swing fully developed, I think that his main motivator, his main driving force for creating the swing that he did and finding his own way to become this golfing machine, I think that his motivation was to try and take all of the variables out, as many of them as he could, and then also to make the swing as simple and as repeatable and as foolproof or even bomb-proof as possible. That is why he has his arms stretched out at their max. That's where they're going to be an impact. Let's go ahead and start him there. That is why he has his left wrist and his left hand basically mimicking the club face. So all he has to do is return it there and he knows that it's square. That's why he's got his feet wider, because they're stable and it leaves less room for him to be able to shift around and lose his relationship to the golf ball. That's why he got so far away, is because he couldn't swing too much inside or come over the top. All he could do was swing out without losing balance and strike the golf ball. He did all of these things instinctively. He just kind of figured them out in order to make the swing so super repeatable, but also extremely simple, to where all he needed to do was take the club back and take the club through. In the spirit of that very thing, I have stumbled upon something that has been working great for me. I want to show some of this stuff to you. If you've followed me for any period of time, you know that some of my common swing faults have always been that I get really steep coming down into the ball. I have to almost reroute the club and flip my hands at it, which again leads me to be sort of flipped at impact. Also, another thing that I do is, as I'm coming down, I end up early extending and kind of getting into the ball that way. Another biggie is that I get across the line at the top. So across the line, rerouting the club, coming in really steep, flipping at the ball, early extension, losing my spine angle. I mean, you name it. I had all of those things. And I think that one of the main reasons that I do that is because when I stand over the ball and I address it, and then I take it away, initially there's probably some sort of corrupt thought process, some sort of corrupt understanding of what this club is going to be doing during my swing. I lose that, and now I'm trying to hit at the golf ball, or I'm trying to put the club into position. I'm trying to force it into a position. And when you're putting something behind your head versus something in front of you versus something up high versus something way back behind you, now you're changing your perspective from where it is in your brain. And now if I move while it's moving, everything is changing. It starts to get so complicated for your brain to keep track of. At least it does for me. So something that I've been working on lately is to just say, hey, look, do what Mo did. In the beginning, I think what I was trying to do was make myself look like Mo and trying to get into the same positions as Mo, when maybe, just maybe, what I should have been doing is saying, let's start walking down the path that Mo walked from step one. How can I take the setup that he's already given me as sort of a jump start? The setup is a jump start. And then how do I get it to be this simplistic motion that is almost foolproof or bomb-proof? And to me, one of the easiest things in the world would be to take this and just tell somebody, use this club head like the tip of a pencil and draw a circle around your body. If you did that, people might start getting it a little bit wonky, but now you might say, okay, now when we draw the circle, we're going to draw the circle and we're going to try to imagine that plane, almost like the Hogan drawing with the Hogan pane of glass, how he said swing under the plane of glass. So when you do that, you're trying to trace the circle almost like you're in one of those, the things that are made out of the plastic PVC tubing. It's the big hoop out there at some of the driving ranges that you see people get into, and they set the club on it and then they let the club roll around there. If you try and think about just making a circle around yourself with that, with this really stable single plane setup, then you don't have to change anything. All you've got to really do is just draw a circle around you toward the target. And when I started to play around with that, that's when the magic happened. All right, let's put it into action. All right, so now that target is 127. Normally a 9-iron goes a little bit further than that, but I haven't properly warmed up yet, so we're just going to keep it nice and simple. Just make a smooth swing. Set up just like I normally do, and I'm just thinking about making the circle. Wow, okay, that's really not bad for the first shot. It's on target. You don't have to swing hard. You don't have to get nuts, but it's literally just imagining that plane. Like when I set my arms and my club on that plane, I'll show you from down the line, all I'm thinking about doing is tracing the circle back and through around me. Let's do another one. There's another one, pretty good. Pretty good, let's see. So 68 mile an hour club head speed, 97 ball speed, 128 yards. That's pretty consistent. That might be deep. Nope. Look at that grouping. Look at that grouping. So again, I could easily go and look at what Todd Graves has done. He's built a mountain of information and evidence, and I could just start taking that and downloading it. Kirk Younga has done the same thing. He's created literally a mountain of videos, and I could take that information and just start absorbing it and consuming it and try to integrate it into part of me. We learn through trial and error. We learn through experience. We learn through trying things, seeing what works and what doesn't, and getting that internalized feeling ourselves. Our subconscious is able to download all of that stuff and make it part of us. And that's one of the big reasons that I just wanted to look at what Mo was saying and what he was doing and what he had achieved, and then take that in, interpret it myself, and try to decode and extract the information that I needed. And again, one of the big messages I think coming out of all of the stuff, you can listen to everything that Mo said, and basically all of it comes back to the same basic principle. Keep it simple, stupid was one of his it's really the easiest, most basic interpretation that you can get, to keep it simple. And taking that club away, instead of thinking, okay, now I'm going to swing the arms back, now I need to fold the right arm, I need to keep this left wrist flat. Now from here, I want the club to fall behind me. I want to deliver into this way. I want to make sure that I hit the brakes with the lower body. Now let the right shoulder replace the left shoulder. Instead of thinking about all of those little individual mechanics, all I think now is just imagining tracing that circle along that plane line with the club head. And of course your hands have to be leading. You still have to remember ball flight dynamics and club ball interaction, meaning that the hands have to be leading the club head. You have to have a slightly descending blow into the golf ball. You have to compress the golf ball not only against the club face but against the turf itself in order to squeeze that ball out and compress it and get good penetrating flight, a good boring flight under control, controlling the spin, controlling the trajectory. Yes, 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 all of that stuff. But really just drawing the circle around me on that plane line, if I practice that enough times, and believe me, I've been getting some excellent results. It's like this all the time now, but just relying on drawing that circle, how can it be any simpler than that? And you're starting off on one plane so that you can swing on that one plane the entire time. Just draw the circle as if it was a flat ruler spinning around on a disc. I mean, it could be that simple, right? Guys, thanks so much for all the support. I really appreciate you clicking on this video, watching this video, subscribing to the channel, clicking the thumbs up, leaving the comments. You're so supportive. I appreciate each and every one of you out there. Thanks so much for all of your tips and all of your guidance and all of your help in trying to make this channel better and in order to help push me down the track. I certainly hope that I am helping you as much as you help me. And I just can't tell you thank you enough. So until next time, this has been week number 9. Go try drawing the circle. See if that works for you. Leave me some comments down below. Tell me how it works. And I'll see you in the next video.